Hey ladies, happy Wednesday. Today I'm really excited to be on here to unveil my new mood board for my new brand. If you've been following this at all, you know that I've been sharing the journey with you. So I'm going to take you on sort of the process that I went through in making that final decision, some factors I considered, and what the result is. So excited to be doing that today. If you don't know me, my name is Allie. I'm a brand and website designer for women's service providers. And I approach branding and websites from a very thoughtful, strategic, holistic, comprehensive view that really brings about a lot of elements so that they actually work for you. So it's not just the pretty face of your brand, but it actually is effective at booking you clients. That's the goal. We want to attract your dream client. We want to book your dream clients with your brands and position you as an authority. So that's what I do. So far, this is part of my Rebrand with Me series. I'm sharing the process of going through my rebrand. And if you've been here in the last few weeks, you know that I talked about how my current brand is something that I created 7 years ago at the very early stages of my business with a very different target market. So I actually went through the audit process of showing you some of the things that were maybe missing in my brand or that I wanted to tweak, and then sharing some of the strategy that I have moving forward. And then last week, I dove into branding's visual direction. So if you are joining me, I'll check in with the group. Say hi. Let me know if you can hear me. And also, if you're just watching this on the replay, say hashtag replay. I would love to hear who's joining me. Watching this on the replay. And let me know where you're watching from too, because I always love to see that. I know that we've got women all over the world in this group. So as kind of a side note, related story, in the meantime, while I'm going through all of this, and I've been talking about it a lot, but the other day my daughter came to me and she goes, "Mommy, I want to do what you do." And I'm like, I do a lot of different things, right? Like, so like I wasn't quite sure what she meant. So she goes, I want a brand, I want clients. And I was like, so caught off guard, but also like really touched that she has been listening and absorbing some of this and sort of starting to process it in her own way. She's 5. So it was really sweet. We actually sat down together and created like a little mini brand for her, went through the process of creating a mood board. And it was so cute. Like what, her responses, she got so excited about it. And then she had her first client, who's her cousin. So I felt really proud going through that with her and sharing with her a little bit of my process and kind of bringing her into that world. So yeah, I now do brands for 5-year-olds. So if you have anyone, So this live really is going to be just kind of a short bonus episode in kind of in the middle of the series, where I'm going to dig into that process that I mentioned of going through the deciding factors. This can be the most agonizing part of rebranding, is all of those little decisions that you have to make along the way. It's part of it, right? I did put out polls in several groups, including this one. I actually shared the mood boards individually and just asked for what your perceptions of them were, your thoughts about them. And then I also shared some polls on stories, stories in Instagram too. So I got like a pretty broad grouping of feedback. And I want to be clear about something though. I know a lot of people think like, oh, well, when I do all of this, I have to choose what my audience chooses. And to be clear, you shouldn't be choosing your brand by popular vote, first of all. That's not necessarily the case. You do not have to go with the highest voted option automatically. That is not a given. And here's why. Not all votes are going to be from your target audience, right? So when you put it out there, when I put my stuff out there to vote on, I make sure I identify my target audience in the caption so that it does tend to attract more of that audience, because that's who I want to hear from mostly, right? And sure, I'd love to hear thoughts from other people as well, but their opinion is going to be the most important because they're the ones I want to work with. So, but we can't control that, right? We can't control who responds, and I can't vet that either. I don't know. I mean, I could be getting all kinds of, different groups and people who aren't necessarily at the place that I am looking to work with. And then the other thing is your target audience is only one piece of the puzzle. There are also, you, right? Like you and your personality and what you bring to the table, what makes you distinct and different. It's your business. It also including is your message, like what you're wanting to say with your brand. And your target audience, even though what they think matters and what attracts them matters, they also haven't necessarily done the comprehensive research and branding strategy that you've done at this point, ideally, if you're going through the process that I am teaching. And then here's the third thing, you get a say, you get a vote. And so if everybody votes on an option that you are just like, oh, this doesn't feel aligned, or is not supporting my message, or there's something really missing with it, you don't have to go with that. You can go with what your gut says. That said, I will say that putting it out there often kind of shines some light on some blind spots that you may have, or reveal things that you didn't expected. It can also be validating. Like it can also help you be like, okay, I'm going in the right direction. It can help you eliminate an option, which in my case, it very much did. And it can be humbling because you know what, you're not always going to get like really peachy feedback. Sometimes people are going to be critical, and you kind of just have to shake that off and move forward and be like, okay. But that also can help you make improvements, right? Like if someone mentions something that maybe is less than positive, you can be like, okay, maybe I can fix that, or maybe there's a point to that. So again, this is just one factor in your decision-making process. It's not the entire thing. I also, in addition to putting it out there, polling it, I did try it out, tried the different brand colors and styles out on different social media graphics so I could visualize what that would look like in real life. And that is very helpful. You can even try it on maybe a website template or some other things. So when I put it out there, it was kind of surprising. I guess it wasn't surprising, but it was sort of eye-opening. I would say concept A got the most votes, and I will share these with you in a minute so you can actually see this. But A got the most, B got very few votes, and C was a close second. So let me go ahead and share my screen with you here. Let me know if you can see that too, if you're watching and joining me. So first off, like I showed you last week, this is actually the mood board for my existing brand. And I talked a little bit last week about the reasons why I felt like this was just a little too generic, kind of too stock photo. So I'm moving away from that. But here is option A, was with more of those like kind of rust tones, got the natural elements that I wanted, and also kind of that cozy feel, sophisticated feminine vibe. So this one did get the most votes. And then option B was actually like the original direction I was thinking I was going to go in the beginning. Just because I did like the idea of having some brighter elements in my brand. But when I actually created the mood board from it, it did feel a little bit like I was forcing too many things in one vibe. And I think the voting reflected that. Like it just didn't feel as cohesive as the other ones. So this one was the one that it got very few votes. It did get some. And then here's option 3. And this one did get also was like a close second. And this was the one that kind of surprised me, caught me off guard a little bit because this wasn't initially, it was kind of an afterthought. I kind of threw it together. I'm thinking, experimenting with the idea of kind of going more in the blue direction. But you know, it was something that really appealed to people. So this process did really help me eliminate option B, which is, like I said, was one of the ones it was a direction I was trying to go in the beginning. But you know, option C, I started thinking about that. I started trying it out and you know, looking through social media graphics and things that you know, I thought might be a direction I could go. So one thing that was sort of a stumbling block with this one for me was the fact that there was no green in it. And I talked about color psychology last week, and that green was something that really is in line with what I want to say and in my messaging. And in addition to a number of other things of having that natural element, and I did want kind of nature and natural to be part of the vibe, but it also, like, it represents new life and new growth. It represents new beginnings and growth. It signifies renewal and abundance. And so I really believe that branding and a new website can bring that to the women who sign up with me. I've seen that. I've seen that in my clients. So I did want green to be part of my branding if at all possible. So I was having a hard time thinking about leaving that behind. And so one thing I did experiment with briefly was adding that green into this one. And it definitely doesn't fit as well as what I had before, but it was an option. And again, I played with a number of different shades, and if it'd be something I probably need to work on a little bit more. But again, that's an option, is to take something and maybe tweak it a bit, like play with the green. One other thing that I heard again and again about this particular mood board was the description of like calm, peaceful, relaxed, soothing. And these are positive things. I do want some of those elements to be conveyed, but I didn't want that to be the primary message. Like those are more qualities that you might see in the brand, like a Pilates or yoga brand, or maybe a massage therapist, something like that. And I wanted mine to have like a little bit more of a touch of energy. I want it, the women I serve are like action takers. They are very driven. They are movers. So I wanted to kind of have that element of like action and confidence, and not in like a hustling way, because I don't believe in that. And I just wanted to be like more of an inspiring way, like inspiring them to action and kind of calling them to the next level in their business. And here's the other thing, like from the beginning, I was just drawn to A. Like even before I put it out there was something in me that was just really, there was just something about it that kind of drew me in, and does feel a lot like my style, that at least the style I aspire to. And so it's got that, kind of sophistication, that feminine side. It's got the natural vibe that I'm trying to bring in. It looks like it's much more upscale than my original brand, but still kind of has the cozy feel that feels relatable. So it kind of hits a lot of bases for me. And then, like I said, it was validating that it was voted #1. And so that was encouraging to me, and sort of kind of made me feel like I was on the right track here. So the thing about this one, so during the process of voting, someone said something kind of interesting in reference to #2. And this particular person voted for #2. And she said that she loved like kind of that drive of this woman crossing the street. Like she knows what she's going after. And I liked that. Like that kind of stuck with me, and was like, yes, that is who I'm looking for. Again, like that woman that knows what she wants. She's going after it. So after choosing A, I decided to tweak it a little bit. So here's the final. I actually put the other photo into this one, and that's something you get to do when you're creating a mood board, is kind of cross photos between them if you need to, cross elements of the colors. And I did that with the green as well. In the original, I used this green from this palette, and I just like the depth of that a little bit more than the one I had in here. So I tweaked it a little bit to include that particular green. And that's what I came up with. So here is my final mood board, and I'd love to know what you think about it. So let me know. I will say, again, this is something I can sit with a little bit, and I might need to trade this photo out to maybe match that green better, something like that, like find something in a similar style. And that's something you can do, right? Is once you get a final, if it's in line with your brand strategy, if it's going in the direction that you want, if your audience is validated that it says the thing that you want it to say, you can make small tweaks and minor fixes. And even after you start putting these things into action, it might require a little bit of tweaking. That's great. Your brand can evolve, right? It doesn't have to stay stagnant forever. You're not locked into something for the rest of your life. Like these are the be all end all decisions. It's okay to tweak them. So, that might be a process that's ongoing, and that's okay. The only concerns that I might have about this particular direction is that it is very kind of popular for designers to go with kind of like that elegant look with black and taupe, right? Like there's a lot of that out there already. And then the other thing is maybe that it isn't bright enough. Like one thing that I'd really missed in my previous brand was having a bright color, and it's why I added in this bright pink later on that didn't really mesh with the other colors. And so it is kind of nice to have a bolder color. I think that I can maybe do some bold things with these color combinations in the future, and I will definitely be experimenting with that. But the other thing is, your style direction and your colors are not the only things in your brand. So I will be adding some brand assets in the coming weeks that I think can address these concerns. So there's things that I can do with patterns and fonts to kind of separate my brand out from other designers and make it kind of unique from just, the regular everyday black and taupe. So, and even just having some other colors mixed in, and using those in a creative way is one way to do that. So, yeah, so let me know what you think. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Thank you all for those of you who voted and just commented and added your thoughts. It's very helpful to hear from you. Next week, I'm going to be digging into my logo. So redesigning the logo that I have now. I'll show you what I have and kind of the evolution that if it's taken. And if you're lucky, I might even show you my very, very first concept, which not great, but you have to start somewhere. And I've got it. I haven't started. My new one has started. So I'm excited about the direction that it's going. And I'd love to show you more, talk a little bit about that process next week, next Wednesday. So you can join me then. And if you are in this place, a little bit where I am, right? Like where you've come to this point in your business, you have traction, you've got revenue, you're growing, you're starting to see the growing pains of that business, but you're ready to kind of take that next step of stepping in as CEO of your business, of growing it in new ways. Let's talk a little. Let's sit down and have just like a no obligation conversation about where your vision is for your business, where you want to go, and what the brand could look like for you stepping into the next season of business toward reaching your big goals that you have. I know that we all have things that we're working toward, whether that's, our dream house or our dream vacation or retiring our husband or whatever that might be. Whatever that is for you, I would love to support you in it. So if you're interested in that, say call in the comments and I can book a call with you and talk with you. Also, if you're interested in any of the replays from this series, let me know, put series in there and I can tag you in those as well. They are still available in the group. So with that, like I said, I'm going to keep, like I said, I keep this short. So I hope you all have a great week and I will see you next week.